by the time 2016 came around, even though I was making money, like multiple six figures, I felt like I didn't, like, who is this girl that's selling this program? Like, who is she? I'm sick of being compared to all of these other people. People would compare me to other, like, online marketers at that time. And they'll be like, hey, what's the difference between your program and this person's program? And people didn't know I was the obvious choice, and that would piss me off. And I'm like, well, it's something wrong with my branding. It's something wrong with how I'm positioning myself in the marketplace. Why don't people know I'm the obvious choice? Like, why do people keep asking me what's the difference?
Wow.
And then once I decided to take a look back and say, okay, well, what are you doing? Because apparently you doing something that's real clone. You'll see how we kind of evolved to unclone.
Oh.
And so I'm like, you doing something that's super clone, right? And I said, well, what am I doing? I said, well, you got 12 modules. They got 12 modules. Your program is 12 weeks. Their program is 12 weeks. Your program is 2,000. Your program, I just kept, and it was just like clone. And I said, well, what would you do if you just like forgot everything you learned from all of these gurus at this point and like had to really kind of go back to the basics? What would you do? I was like, well, I'd be more creative.
If you didn't have a roadmap.
Yeah, like
still
if I just
knowing
like
the information that you have, just if you were going to create.
Right, exactly. So now I'm kind of getting back to my creative stuff, because at this point, I had completely abandoned my creative background. I was a girl who had an art magazine in Memphis, super dope photographer, super dope graphic designer, and I wasn't infusing that in my work. I was looking at people in the marketplace and be like, okay, she take pictures like this, so I'm gonna take pictures like this. Oh, she sits in her chair like this, because this is what the millionaires doing. This is what the people are doing.
But I mean, at the end, so you
modeled
what was working, right? And it worked,
right? And it worked, but I wasn't happy because I got tired of being compared. Like I was sick of that. I'm like, man, why you keep asking me that, bro? Like that question was like, the thing that kept me up at night, because people were like, oh man, what's the thing that keep you up at night? It wasn't about money. It was the fact that people didn't know I was the obvious choice.
Creating your own identity in the marketplace. Yes,
because at that time I had an identity crisis. I didn't know who I was. I just knew that I had mastered these things. I had mastered creating courses. I had mastered selling it, but I wasn't happy.